This is Spartan 117.
Anyone hear me? Over.
Isolate that signal. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Welcome back to Finish the Fight, a Halo podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Reiners.
And I'm your host, Alex Kendall.
And so Halo Reach has been out for a week now. And so, the initial launch has been pretty good so far. So we thought we'd kind of come in and discuss how we feel about it, our experience with it so far, and any kind of nuances that are thrown in there, and maybe some improvements that we see that could be made.
Yeah, just to kind of show you guys, they've had some time with this. Like, it's exciting that it's out. It's exciting that it's part of the MCC. And it's kind of their lead up and build up that we're going to get to Infinite next year, with some possible media thrown in between then. Mm-hmm. So we just wanted to touch, like, how does this compare to Halo Reach standalone on Xbox 360?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to try to look at this as objectively as possible, because Halo Reach is one of my favorites. I have a lot of fond memories of it, and I probably put the most amount of hours in any Halo game in Reach itself. So really excited about this. And, after 4 hours of downloading it, I finally, a week ago, got to play it for the first time. I went immediately to the campaign, and it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like, definitely from the gameplay to the cutscenes and everything else, it's beautiful. The first thing I notice is that the sound is like a fourth of a second off. Mm-hmm. So even like when they're talking in the cutscenes, you can see, I think it's more so the cutscenes, but nothing really syncs up. And I've played that campaign probably, I don't know, a couple dozen times at least. And, you can even tell like the music just doesn't really sync up here. So little things like that. And I know like a lot of people in our Discord have already said, oh, the sound's off. And I was like, yeah, I kind of see that too.
Yeah, and before you guys get at us saying, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about, we're recording this on December 9th, 2019. Mm-hmm. So as patches roll out, like these type of things will be patched. Mm-hmm. It's little things that they either couldn't figure out right away and had to release it, or for some reason when it got mass out there, whatever you want to call that, mass pushed, there's hiccups there too. So we're going to talk through those, but just so you guys know that, December 9th, 2019 is when we're doing this. And if there's a patch out tomorrow and it completely destroys everything we talked about, that's why.
Yeah, you can then, I don't know, dislike this video. But no, yeah.
Give them that big old thumbs down.
And another issue that people have been talking about is matchmaking sometimes not working for them. Luckily, I haven't experienced that yet.
It's just it's just a lot of weird black screens and kind of unmatchmaking. It's the type of stuff you get a lot with like customs where it'll boot you.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think about this. I haven't really heard of a game that dropped that has a huge multiplayer within the past few years where it's like day one it hasn't crashed. Mm-hmm. Like that's, especially like the first week, it's like these servers, they were built to handle millions of players, but at the end of the day, like that doesn't mean it's going to actually happen.
No, because you only have so much to test with other people's internet connections, where their servers are, multiple things like that. Not to defend them in any way, but just so that you guys know that there's a beta test, but then there's like beta plus, which is like the first week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, this stuff will become a lot more smoother, but, that isn't like the biggest deal, at least for me, because I haven't really experienced yet. Mm-hmm. I've played probably a few hours of online now, and it hasn't really been too terribly buggy for me. A handful of matches were.
Sure.
I will say that, but nothing to where the fact that I'm like, this affected the game. I'm done with this.
Well, I mean, that's classic Halo. I mean, you at 10 matches, you got one or two, you're like, ooh, this is a little weird.
Yeah, and so something else I want to talk about is the armor customization and ranking up, which I'll say just outright, I'm not a fan. Like, I know some people are, and that's fine. Please keep in mind, by the way, we're going to be sharing our opinion with this. We're not saying we're right. We're not saying we're wrong. It's simply just that. And I know there are a handful of people, like we've talked about in our Discord, that agree with me, is that instead of now you rank up, and every time you rank up, you have the ability to potentially unlock more armor permutations or whatever. This time it's season 1 right now. And so you have tier 1 through 100. And say if I wanted to buy the ODST helmet, which I think is on tier 17, I have to buy the 16 armor permutations beforehand. So there's a handful of, helmets and the add-ons to those and everything like that. So instead of, saving up your credits, like everything costs 1 credit and you get 1 credit every time you rank up. So instead of being able to
get all the armor you want, you have to buy each piece.
So I think that's a little ridiculous. I know people said, well, this is cutting the grind down in half from Halo Reach. And I'm like, that's fine, that's cool, but allow me the opportunity to just save up instead.
So I have to disagree with you on that point. Coming from a true professional gamer over here, where I do play through seasons of most of my games, that's what you're seeing. So 2 points with this. You're seeing that traditionally through most games right now. One of the biggest people see that is Apex Legends. So Apex has the same type of system. You have to rank up. Each rank will either grant you like an item pack, a weapon skin, and various other boosts that you can get. It's pretty garbage season 1. I don't know what they're doing in season 2. I haven't played in a bit. So they're kind of implementing that model. 2, to agree with Charlie, one of our mods on this point, it gives people who want to dedicate a lot of time to this game reward. And I completely understand where you're coming from, where you don't want behind, whether it be like a paywall later where it's like, oh, you can pay to get boosts or you can pay to do this to get better. It makes sense that you want that, but I think at the same time they're trying to give longevity to multiplayer. That's not like in 2 weeks everyone has everything.
Yeah, and I mean the original Halo Reach, it definitely wasn't like that. I grinded for a long time, and it's not to say that like I want my ODST armor, but it's not to say once I get that I'm going to quit. Like I'm still going to play, and then it's like, okay, there's some other things I'm eyeing, but my thing is, okay, I want my ODST armor that I had in Halo Reach, but it's like it's going to be a minute.
Sure.
But that being said, I'm willing to put in the time. I just don't like that idea of I have to buy 16 armor pieces before I get my helmet, instead of saying, let's just say the helmet costs 6 or 7 credits versus that,
Or would you rather prefer there's no credits and you just unlock it automatically? Would that make you feel better? So if I'm like spend it, it's just like at 16, you're like, boom, you get this piece, and then at 17, all right, you get your ODST piece now.
Yeah, I mean, because
it's kind of like what like Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare, where like the guns unlock just automatically as you leveled.
Yeah, because Charlie and I were literally talking about that. We played a few matches, I think Wednesday, like a week ago or something. Is that the fact that we have to manually go in and click purchase
instead of just giving it to you?
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's clearly being lazy, but at the end of the day, it's like, why put that in there?
No, but I don't think it's laziness. I think it's just bad optimization of, if I automatically have to get this and I can't bank anything to go to another tier, just do it for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that this system will change minutely. I don't think they're going to overhaul their credit system or unlock system, but I think they will nuance it. That way we don't have to click it. We don't have to manually go in and click unlock. Like, are you sure you want to do it? And it's like, I literally can't do anything else. I have 1 credit to spend, and this is the only thing I can buy. Yes, I'm pretty sure this is what I want to do.
Well, and I'm interested to see if this is a very light implementation of what they want to test for Infinite.
Yeah, I think they're putting some feelers out for some things that are coming to Infinite.
And that makes sense to be like, okay, do you guys want to do the season pass thing? Like where you get only X amount of... Because it might be smart, because they already do that with cosmetics, with like the little banner things, like for Franck or whatnot. Like you have to play certain... Exactly. You have to play certain events to get those. So I'm assuming what they'll do is they'll do kind of the FOMO method that most games will do with it. So like the fear of missing out, where if you don't play that season or you don't get to a certain level for that season, you're going to miss out on getting that armor. So it creates that urgency to play. It creates you wanting to maybe even log in daily, kind of like what they did with Halo 5 with like the retcon packs and stuff like that. So, we'll see. I mean, I think it's a smart idea to test it and implement it here in Reach. To then push it for Infinite, which is going to be, a brand new world for everyone.
Yeah. With that being said, I think my biggest gripe is the credit system. There are still a lot of things I like. One thing is going to Firefight is they have like a standard heroic one, which I've played only 2 or 3 times, and I don't think we've ever made it past the second set.
That's a shame.
I'm just saying, and
That's a shame.
And I'm playing with people who don't suck like me. I can tell. I'm very much so bringing the team down. But you have a generator defense and things like that. But they do have a social one where it's basically, I played it like 3 in a row. I can't remember the map, but everyone just had gravity hammers and unlimited ammo and overshields. So it's like that's a point racker. And at least for me, what I have seen so far, the best way to get points, you will finish those matches in 15 minutes or so, and you'll get so many credits, or like experience points, but not credits. You'll get the experience points to level up.
To level up your rank.
Yeah, so far, that's the quickest I've seen, and that wasn't even intentional. I just played a handful of rounds of that, and then I went to regular multiplayer where I got shit on left and right.
Sure.
And instantly, I was like, oh, you can definitely make a lot of points with that because you perform very well. Because you get X amount of overkills and kill-taculars and everything like that, and your streaks, and those all add up.
Well, especially like PvE stuff like that. Like you're gonna get so much more because it's the same amount between them, right? Like you're earning the same amount of credits between both multiplayer options. So that
I believe so.
I think it's close to that, if not mirrored with it. But you'll probably see that slow down because obviously everyone's going to grind that for a bit to get your levels up, to get credits going. Makes sense. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean it's been fun so far. I know they kind of redid the whole menu and UI and everything like that. I personally am not a fan of it because it's just it's a complete overhaul.
Sure,
but I don't think it's bad. I just for MCC and what it's established, to completely overhaul it.
It was an overhaul no one really asked for or needed or wanted,
and it's jarring. Because I logged in and I was like, I was like, because I saw the Instagram posted like those graphics, everything. I was like, oh,
Sure.
that's cool. And then I see it. And I was like, this is cool. It's beautiful. I get it. Like I appreciate this, but it's like. MCC is just now all like Noble Team helmets and blah, blah, blah. And I get that you're trying to promote it, but I'd say just stick with the classic. Again, that's not a real complaint, just kind of a cosmetic thing they did that I disagree with, but I'm not going to quit playing for any reason.
No, I think it's their attempt to modernize Halo and to get kind of with it because even Pokemon Go, it's been a while, but typically they have a new splash screen for you to log into, like you see that with other games when it's seasonal passes or things like that.
And MCC does that too with the season.
Yeah, and it'll still do it. So, I mean, you'll probably have this for a bit. And obviously, maybe with some backlash, it'll be a little bit less than a bit.
Yeah.
Depending on what they kind of do with it.
I mean, 343 listens to complaints and everything like that. So by all means, if, vast majority of people are saying, this is dumb, change it, they're going to change it because they are good about saying, what don't you like? Because we'll get rid of that. Yeah, but, that being said, I want to touch back on the campaign a little bit. And maybe this is me being crazy, and this is by no means is a complaint, it's an observation. I just feel like, because, as I said, I've played that campaign on Xbox 360 a million times when I was in high school. So I have so many of, like, what enemy should be where engraved in my head. And I just feel like occasionally I see like a different rank of elite that's somewhere where it usually doesn't appear in the campaign, and little nuances like that I was like, I could have swore like there weren't enemies here before. And I think they might have, I can't confirm or deny that they changed things up a bit, which I think I like. Because it's the idea of I'm not truly playing the same campaign again.
Sure.
Like they've changed things up. I think some things are a little harder, in certain areas than the other. But I feel, I don't know. Again, I'm trying to look at this, objectively. But I feel like it's like I'm almost replaying it again for the first time. It's just a little better. It's prettier. It just handles a little better. Like, it's nice, like, to actually be able to experience this again. Like, I was so excited. And every time a cutscene would go on, I would tell Wellington, like, look at this. Like, this is beautiful. But maybe that is a subjective viewpoint. But at the end of the day, I think for the most part, they really are killing it with this. I mean, this is, that catalyst to get Halo back on top. I mean, you saw the downloads on Steam, isn't it? Like, or online sales. It's like 2 million at this point.
Number one selling game on Steam.
Yeah, like that's incredible.
It was also number one selling when it got announced. So like even the pre-orders of it brought it right to the top.
Yeah, and I think like this was such a good move, and you have to applaud 343 for really doing this because, I think like it still would have been pretty hyped up if they had never brought Reach over, if they just said, we're going to do Combat Evolved and 2 and 3 and 4. But I think Reach is really what we needed because I don't think people would have been hyped if they had to go back to Combat Evolved and they were playing it on PC. Instead, they're giving us the best looking Bungie game. So for me, I think it's...
Well...
Come on.
Reach is what turned me off Halo, so we can get on that in a different topic with
We
it.
will be covering Reach in January, so by all means, we will open up that can of worms.
Sure.
But I'd say as an overall, I mean, you look at the faces of Halo 3 and Halo Reach, there's clearly graphical improvements. You can't...
No, I totally agree. As far as bringing it over and giving a graphical overhaul like they did with Anniversary on 1 and 2, and it's something that I think the genre... not necessarily genre, but the Halo franchise in and of itself really needs.
Halo is his own genre, bro.
You're right. You're not wrong. No, I think it needs that. I think, you get many remastered games that only do graphical overhauls, or they go oh, this is a 480p game now. It's a 1080p game. There's those things, but I think Halo and 343 Industries and Microsoft is taking it all one step further. And like you said, bring it back to life. Bring it back to life, not only for us who kind of grew up with that nostalgia, but getting the kids of today to be able to play it and play it in a modern looking setting. And it also has to have that if you're going to PC.
Yeah.
No one's going to want to play 360 graphic stuff with their 2080 Ti card, whatever, type thing where they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars to build this rig to then just play a nostalgia game for 20 minutes and then be done. They're trying to create both parties to have their own player base, to be able to play together, and things like that. And I think it's necessary that they have these type of things done, and they can test. We talked about a little bit earlier about things they may want to include in newer titles.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, what I said is I felt, kind of rejuvenated and refreshed, almost like I was playing this again for the first time, even knowing the story, just seeing it all over again. And yeah, it recaptured me, so I can only imagine how people feel playing this, and hopefully even PC players are this game holds up for being 10 years old. And that's what I truly feel like at the end of the day. Even right before it came over to MCC a few weeks ago, I hopped on I put it in and I played a match or two that I could find, but there's still some kind of, it's like Halo 3, there's still some kind of player base out there. There are people that are married to it. For me, it was my favorite multiplayer. It was the first Halo game that I went all in before, so I always it will always hold a special place in my heart.
We all have our first.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I was good back then.
No, I believe you. I mean, it's for me, it was 2. Like I grew up with CE, playing it at my birthday party, and then when 2 hit and Xbox Live hit, I lived there. That was my game. 3, I played a bunch, and then I think when ODST and when Reach hit, I think I was just done. And I think, like you said, the leveling system and just a lot of grind just wasn't what I was in for.
Yeah, and now Reach was different initially for that, it's oh, great, player customization, everything like that. But it's how to get that was a completely different story.
Yeah.
And of course, we will cover all that next month whenever we do our Halo Reach episode, the final Halo game from Bungie. But it's again, it's cool to see this. I think it's bringing in a new audience, and that's exactly what Halo needs, especially if they want to sell some Scarlet, if they want Infinite to be on top and just dominate. If that's what they're aiming for, which I'm sure it is, they need stuff like this, because there's already rumors that, okay, starting sometime after the new year, we're going to start doing some flight tests for Combat Evolved.
Well, and you see it already occurring. I mean, it's twofold of why they brought it to PC. One, a brand new audience that's not trying to play it through the Windows Store or whatever. It's on Steam. It's got its own dedicated service for those things. But you're having streamers, and that's what they're going to need for when Infinite hits.
Yeah, I already saw Ninja post a video or two of him on it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously he's getting paid for it, but I mean, even Twitch streamers, Mixer streamers, Facebook streamers, whatever you've got, they always pick the hot title that drops, and so this is obviously it, but this is, it brings people back to Halo again, who may not be following as closely as we do for certain things, or as you guys do, but it's like, oh yeah, I remember this, and it may just encourage them to pick it up again.
Yeah, because imagine maybe you don't pay attention too much to the news, but you're like, oh, I heard, Reach is coming to PC, and then all of a sudden you log into Steam one day, and you're like, there it is, and you're like, might as well get it, and then you play it, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. Or it's people who've, moved on from console to PC. I think, again, we need that new audience coming in. Right now there's no cross play. There's cross progression, but there is no cross play right now. Everyone's really, really hoping that we are going to get that cross play. Doesn't affect me as a guy who has a first gen Xbox One, but I could see the frustration by all means. But at the end of the day, this is an older game, so built from the ground up for PC. And crossplay still isn't like the biggest thing right now.
No, and I want to address some more complaints that I've heard and just kind of give you guys insights on what I think and just like some other like game creators and people I've talked to with this. I know one complaint was, why isn't it free on Steam for me if I already own an Xbox? Well, they've had to build 2 versions of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that the other MCC stuff is on there for you and going through that, but now that they're trying to bring it into a larger audience and bring it there, that's one big thing. Another thing that I don't understand why you guys are asking this is, why is my current rank and save data from 360 Reach not available now? I don't think it's ever happened in a game.
Yeah, like that's the equivalent of being like, why? And I can't remember if was there a ranking system in CE? Am I crazy? Okay, or 2. Was there a ranking system in 2 or 3?
3, yeah.
3. So yeah, shit on me for that, guy. Sorry, but imagine if maybe there was a complaint of people who had whatever rank on Halo 3, and then they get Master Chief Collection, and they're like, where's my rank?
See, that's what I was asking, is why wasn't it complained about in earlier games about all your saves and all these other things that you've done, or like even like achievements? Like why wouldn't you be complaining about that? It's a whole new game.
Well, I think people think that it's like, oh, it's so, it's 2019. We should have the technology to pull that, which I can agree to an extent. But at the end of the day, they also have a completely new ranking system. Well, and it's new,
and they have to make money.
Yeah.
If they weren't trying to make money making this game, they would not have made it.
Yeah, and if they had, it wouldn't have come out now.
No,
because if they're not making money, there's no deadline, so they're not going to put it out until it's 100% ready, which again, no game is put out 100% ready. Like, let's just rip that Band-Aid off right now. There are games that are, as ready as they can get for the time. And then, clearly you have a game that when it launches, it's just a dud. But, with that being said, I think this launch has been successful for the most part. Again, there are some issues that, I've seen small complaints, and then some issues that the players have. Some legitimate, some are, as I said, is, where's my rank? Like, it's on the 360. If you're really proud of that rank, go back there.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that you put a lot of time and effort into those things, but understand that so did they. And, this is creating a whole new thing for you to be able to play again with your friends and start out new and get the armors. So think of, Halo Reach as Halo Reach Anniversary.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's really what it is.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it sucks. I mean, I forget what my rank was, but I put a lot of time into it for my for my account on 360. But by all means, I'm not mad about it. Like, clearly everyone's gonna be like, here we go again. But at the end of the day, that's how it works. It's 2 different versions.
So to kind of continue on, there's 2 other things that I really want to touch base on. One is Firefight. So it's the first time we're going to be getting it with any MCC collection. 2 is Forge, and especially PC Forge.
Yeah. As I said, we talked about earlier, Firefight is really fun. I'm having a really good time with it. Definitely.
It's one of my favorite modes that has come to pretty much any game around that period. Obviously starting with ODST, and we're not seeing that yet, but we're at least getting it with Reach.
Yeah, as I said, like I think I might have talked about it on episode 0, but my friends and I would all change our armor to Noble Team, and we'd basically make ourselves invincible, and we'd do like a custom firefight, and we would just do endless rounds, and we would just spend hours sitting there. Like, we would like sit there talking, but
just kind of like having fun. Yeah.
And And you have those options again, and it's so fun so far. And I'm like instantly just like, man, I want to do this for 7 hours. And I'm already like texting a few of my old friends like, hey, are you getting this? Like, are you getting it for Xbox One? When are you going to be on? Like, because those are such, Firefight's one of those modes that is definitely like zombies.
Yep.
Where it's just go, 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 go. How long can we make it? Like, it's so fun. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, if there's, I haven't seen too many complaints about Firefight, but for me, I think they did it, how they brought it over, and with the matchmaking, you have your one for hardcore serious guys that, that's the harder one for sure. You actually have your lives, and then you have the one that's just fun. That's just, I guess, just that kicked back, I'm going to do this. Because especially, I think the last time I played, and I can't remember the mode name off the top of my head, but when I was playing it, I was just having a conversation with Welkson just the whole time, like while I was doing it, because it doesn't take too much thought. But
no, that's exactly it. And it's a mode that is that kind of classic wave defense brought back. And like you said, you can play it to where you can kind of play sweaty games with it and compete and see how far you can actually go, testing your skill, or you kick back and just have fun shooting some stuff. That you kind of want to do through the campaign, but like it's not necessarily enemies all the time type thing.
Yeah, and then with Forge, I noodled around with it a little bit on Xbox One, which, by the way, we are having a Halo Reach MCC on Xbox One game night coming up, so we're going to have some cool custom games because I already know people are going to be doing some crazy stuff from that. But with that being said, Forge on Xbox One is about the same as it was on 360. Now, PC community has already gone crazy with it. Like, there are already mods out there. You can download them off Reddit. Look it up. We can't necessarily promote that, but it's really cool to see that because any vehicle that you see in the campaign or anything like that is in there. Like, even down to the forklift or just a random truck off to the side. You have the Seraphs in there. You have a Saber in there. And I even saw like you can do some AIs so you can spawn Georges. And you also, there's no barrier on the Forge map. And I forget who posted the video, but they went to the edge of the map as far as they could. And, say your entire screen is the Forge map. It's maybe the size of like the playable Forge area is the size of like your thumb compared to the whole area that they designed for it. Like, it's beautiful and crazy. And something cool that I also saw was being able to combine Forge and Firefight.
Okay.
So, you can start a Firefight map, but then you can turn into the monitor and say spawn a Wraith and just take that Wraith and just drag it around the map and you get splatters for it. So instantly, like, as we expected, and I think I actually didn't expect it to happen this quickly, but like modding community is already going crazy with it, and it's beautiful.
Well, especially with Nexus. So Nexus mods is pretty much where you're going to find most of them, and that's kind of the community that really, really delved into Skyrim and started with those. And
God, those Skyrim mods.
Yeah, and then like Fallout, anything like kind of Bethesda, they did that pretty much until the Steam Workshop launches for MCC. There's no date really for that yet, because obviously it's kind of like all developer tools are kind of given out. If you're able to create content for it, people then can download the mods. It makes it very easy through Steam for that.
Yeah.
Nexus is also pretty easy, so you can always just test those out, see what's working, see what's not. Obviously, that's going to be a very tough thing to police through multiplayer, as we see in like GTA and a couple others with online community stuff. But for the most part, they'll probably crack down a lot of that, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and I mean, by all means, if you put up a barrier on the internet, there's going to be people with 5 solutions how to get through it. But I mean, as I said, I think overall, initially, this launch gets probably about a B plus from me because it's been really good so far. I mean, as I said, I have like my little complaints, like the ranking system. I personally am not a fan. I've seen some people like it. I've seen some people dislike it. And, with like even like the campaign, the sound being off, but these are all like, at least like those little glitches and everything like that, those are going to be fixed very quickly. They're going to patch those up. If not maybe patched by the time we release this episode tomorrow. But overall, it's been a good launch, and it's so crazy to just see the Halo community is so excited. It's like everyone's just running around like a chicken with their head cut off, like in excitement. It's awesome. Like, it just makes me happy to see this.
And it's a game for $10. Mm-hmm. So if you already have MCC, $10, you can get a little discount. If you're a Game Pass user, I think it's $2 off. It's $8.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can get a discount with that, but I mean, it's $10.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we said people are complaining about that, but I mean, it's a game. Like, it's a game that was recreated again. I think it's the equivalent of buying a book and then being like, why do I have to pay for this audiobook?
Yeah.
Because they had to pay people to read this for you. It's on a website that costs money and a host and everything like that. So look at it like that. Like, you can't always just assume, well, I have it on Xbox, so then I have to now get it on PC for free. I think it's the equivalent of being like, well, I owned Halo 3 on Xbox 360, so why am I paying for it again through this Master Chief collection?
Exactly.
Like, and especially, they're gonna throw some more money in, especially to get the other games, I'm assuming. But it's for a full game for $10. Like, you can't beat that.
No,
like,
and you get the multiplayer free.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So you already have that. So you're paying for $10 or is campaign and firefight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, it's like you still get stuff for free. Like, they're like, okay, we'll give you multiplayer because you don't even have to do, like, you don't have to, if there are people out there who just go straight to the multiplayer, that's fine. And if you want to be that person, you can.
Yeah. I think and also think of it as just supporting the game that you love, supporting 343 to kind of make their way through Infinite and see how that is.
Yeah.
And just have some fun.
Yeah. And 343, give us money for that now because we promoted you.
Yeah, that was sponsored segment hashtag. Sponsored segment hashtag. The hashtag goes after it because you're not paying for that hashtag.
But yeah, in all reality, I mean, I am excited. I think 343 truly now has a direction. I think, I think, or I hope that they're done trying to be a standalone company and instead being a Halo company, which granted, that's what they were formed for, but we've discussed 4 and 5 are the reason they are because they wanted to stand out. They wanted to be like, we're our own thing, but you can't be when you're taking over a very established IP.
When you're taking over one of the most recognizable IPs and the most important IP for Microsoft.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, let's kind of dial into the Halo roots and hopefully going through, maybe they'll all get some kind of spiritual awakening. Granted, we're very far into Infinite's development, but just going through all these, original games and porting them and everything, like, hopefully that'll awaken something. Again, I think we're a little too late in development for that, but at the end of the day, I do have hope for 343 now. Maybe I just jinxed it and Infinite's gonna suck and we're gonna revolt and burn our copies of it. But really, I do have hope for it. I'm excited. And this is just the catalyst to kind of get the community hype. I want to see Infinite hype almost to the level that Halo 3 was. I truly don't think we're going to ever get that way again. But, I mean, I want to see that level of hype. And I'd like to think we're going to get that. I could be wrong, but that would be amazing. Because I remember that hype finally. Like, that was vaguely while I started getting into Halo, but just my friends getting hype for it and everything like that. Like, it's just mind-blowing, and I would love to see that again, Like, granted, there's no more quote-unquote midnight releases. It's like 9 p.m. releases, and those lines aren't as big now because people are just ordering them on Xbox Live and everything like that.
Or Amazon. You just, get it delivered. You're not worrying about it.
Well, you better believe I will be in line for that. I'll camp out. I already planned on taking a few days off of work for this game. Like, I already know. I'm excited, and I want to see that hype again, and I think Halo Reach on MCC and MCC on PC has gotten that ball rolling. I could be wrong, but I think so.
And we'll see. I mean, Infinite's, we're not seeing much so far, obviously.
We know nothing about that game.
But, like we talked before, like little things like the weight of the armor and just a couple of the things we've seen thus far is just really, really neat and is promising at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so with that being said, that was some of our quick thoughts about everything going on with MCC coming to PC, Reach coming on, MCC itself. We just wanted to throw this out there, give you our quick opinion about it. Please let us know what you guys think. We've been talking about it extensively in Discord for a while now, basically the past week. And if you want to join Discord, tell us how you feel about it. Please let us know. Message us for the link. It might be the link in our bio and our Instagram. So just, join it. It's always a good time.
Yeah, and it's just been a blast kind of seeing this release, seeing you guys playing it. So we're having some fun with it.
Yeah, and with that being said, I'm your host, Jesse Reiners.
And I'm your host, Alex Kendall.
And thank you for tuning in to Finish the Fight, a Halo podcast.